Right, let me tell you something. After a couple of decades mucking about in the sticky heat of Isaan, I have seen more cultural car crashes than a Bangkok traffic jam. You think you know about love? Wait until you try explaining to your mum why your new Thai mother-in-law insists on feeding the house spirits before breakfast. And that is just Monday morning. Oh, you have not lived until an entire village has interrogated you about your intentions while standing knee-deep in a rice paddy at 5 a.m. Trust me, mates. Cupid's arrow gets a bit wobbly when it has to navigate through Buddhist blessing ceremonies, dowry negotiations that would make a UN summit look simple, and family trees that seem to include half the northeastern provinces of Thailand. Now, before you start rolling your eyes and muttering about another bitter expat story, let me clarify something. I am not bitter, I am seasoned, like a good fish sauce that has been fermenting in the sun for precisely the right amount of time. You see, when I first stumbled into this magnificent mess called Isaan romance, I was about as prepared as a vegetarian at a Somtam festival could be. I thought I was clever, having read a few guidebooks and memorised hello and thank you in Thai. What an absolute rubbish that turned out to be. The thing about Isaan relationships, and this is where it gets deliciously complicated, it is that you are not just dating one person. Oh no, that would be far too simple for this wonderfully chaotic corner of Thailand. You are courting an entire ecosystem. The girlfriend, her mum, dad, 3 aunties, 4 cousins, the village headman, the local monks, 2 water buffalo, yes, they have opinions too, and possibly the spirits of our ancestors who apparently live in that little house on stilts in the garden. Nevertheless, here is where it gets properly mental. I discovered that the most challenging part was not learning to eat fermented fish sauce without gagging, though that took considerable effort, or figuring out why every conversation seemed to involve at least 7 people shouting at once apparently. That is just how they express affection. No, the real kicker was realising that I had been approaching the whole thing with my Western me-first mentality. When Isaan culture operates on a beautiful, if utterly bewildering, us first, community second, and your weird Farang habits can bloody well adapt philosophy. Let me paint you a picture. It is 1982 and there I am, convinced I have this whole cross-cultural romance thing figured out. I had learned enough Thai to order beer and apologise for my existence. Surely that was sufficient. Wrong. Dead wrong. My first introduction to the family involved a ceremony that seemed to require more planning than D-Day. There were monks chanting at dawn. Apparently 5 a.m. is the perfect time for spiritual blessings. Relatives arriving from provinces I could not pronounce, and enough food to feed a small army. The cultural minefield begins with communication, and I do not just mean language. Though trying to sweet talk someone in Thai when you have only mastered the vocabulary of a particularly dim 3-year-old presents its challenges. No, it is the layers beneath the words which trip you up. In Isaan culture, what is not said is often more important than what is said. A simple "my pen right, never mind" from your beloved can mean anything from "I am generally fine" to "you are sleeping with a water buffalo tonight." Then there is the family dynamic, which operates on a completely different gravitational pull than what us Westerners are used to. In Isaan society, daughters have traditionally been valued as the primary caregivers for aging parents. It is not just cultural expectation, it is practically encoded in their DNA. So, when your lovely Isaan partner explains that part of her income needs the support of parents, that is not a negotiation point. That is just Tuesday. The Buddhist influence weaves through everything like incense smoke at a temple fair. morning almsgiving, evening temple visits and enough merit-making ceremonies to keep your calendar busier than a London banker's. However, here is what I initially missed. These are not chores or obligations, they are the spiritual scaffolding that holds the entire community together. Living in rural Isaan means your daily routine gets a complete overhaul. Forget your leisurely Western breakfast routine. Here, the day starts at cockerel o'clock, approximately 4:30 a.m, with the sound of rice being pounded, monks collecting alms, and your neighbours already deep in conversation about the weather, crops, and whether Uncle Somchai's gambling problem has improved. The social dynamics require a PhD in diplomatic relations. Village life means everyone knows everyone's business, and privacy is about as rare as snow in Ubermrachatai. Your romantic gestures become public entertainment, your arguments become community discussion topics, and your attempts at speaking Thai provide endless amusements for children and adults alike. However, here is a beautiful paradox. This apparent lack of privacy creates an incredible support network. When things get tough, and they will, trust me, you will discover that half the village has appointed themselves your unofficial advisors, mediators, and life coaches. After years of cultural fumbling, I have learned that successful Isaan relationships are not about conquest or compromise, they are about expansion. Your world view has to stretch like rice noodles in a proper bowl of boat noodles. You learn that face is not just about dignity, it is about maintaining the delicate social fabric that keeps communities functioning. The humour in Isaan culture is particularly enlightening. It is earthy, direct, and often aimed at deflating egos before they can cause trouble. The local Moreland performances are basically stand-up comedy wrapped in traditional music where nothing and no one is sacred. Learning to laugh at yourself becomes essential survival equipment. The strangest thing about this journey is how it changes you without you realising it. One day you are a proper English gentleman who considers anything spicier than mild cheddar to be exotic cuisine. The next, you're arguing with the village aunties about the proper fermentation time for fish sauce while wearing a sarong and flip-flops, having developed surprisingly strong opinions about which rice variety works best in different seasons. You stop seeing the cultural differences as obstacles and start appreciating them as features. The communal approach to problem solving, the integration of spiritual practice into daily life, the respect for elders that goes beyond mere politeness, these become part of your own value system. Therefore, here is the thing, my culturally curious friends, Isaan cross-cultural relationships are not about finding someone who fits into your existing life. They are about building an entirely new life together, one that honours both traditions while creating something uniquely yours. Yes, you will spend more time in temples than you ever imagined. Yes, you will learn to eat things that will make Gordon Ramsay weep. Moreover, yes, you will discover that quiet family dinner is apparently an oxymoron in this part of the world. However, you will experience a depth of community connection, spiritual grounding, and authentic human warmth that makes those challenges feel like small prices to pay. The secret is not avoiding the cultural misunderstandings. It is learning to navigate them with grace, humour, and the understanding that love is not just about two people finding each other. In Isaan, it is about two people, their families, their communities, and their shared commitment to building something beautiful together, even when, especially when, it gets gloriously, magnificently, wonderfully complicated. Now, have you found yourself in a cross-cultural romance that has left you more confused than a vegetarian at a barbecue festival? Drop a comment below and share your most hilariously disastrous cultural misunderstanding. Let us build a support group for the culturally bewildered. On top of that, do not forget to subscribe for more tales from the trenches of international love. Bye bye.